So on turn 98, we're in medieval era, I just wanted to bring up something that is something I see as a comment quite a lot on my videos, and I think actually as an informational point is really useful to think about. Ursa, why don't you bother using your trade routes? Now, trade routes in Civ are very useful at getting gold, food, production, and all that sort of thing. The trade routes get progressively better the later into the game you get, and it's because the way trade routes work is the yields of them, be it gold or food or production, they're all based on the districts of the cities you're sending them to. Now, there are other things as well that can scale it, like, for instance, this merchant gives you extra faith from a trade route to a city-state, so there are other ways you can improve them. Wonders and policy cards, but progressively trade routes get better through the game. The medieval era is just about the wrong time to be spending all that production and gold on trade routes. If I have a look at my available routes and say I wanted to go for gold, I only have one trade route that can get me 12 gold per term. All of the rest of them just give 6, or like 3, or if I went for food, I've only got a couple of 2-2 routes available to me. They're not insane. Generally speaking, it is a little bit too early in the game to be focused on them. I like to go for trade routes as soon as you get to diplomatic service. That's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's in the Renaissance era, which is kind of about the right sort of time to be focusing on them. And secondly, you start to get Vassal banking. Now, Vassal banking gives 2 food and 2 production on trade routes. By that time as well, you've probably got lighthouses available in your cities, you've got markets, you can generally start to get some really good trade routes. So that is kind of why I haven't really bothered with them so far. Obviously, there are always exceptions. Always keep an eye out for send trade route city-state quests. Very easy way of getting yourself 3 envoys, and if you want to focus on getting a city to grow, it's another good way of doing it. So for instance, this is the city I want to stick the government plaza in, an encampment, but more importantly, I want Pingala to be leveled up in. So I want this to grow, and it's on 8 out of 8 housing. I'm going to buy a lighthouse because it gives 1 housing and another 2 if the city is adjacent to the coast, which it is. So now it's got 11 housing. It's going to start to grow very, very quickly. And I can now think about getting some trade routes into this city. It would be 5 turns to get one though. So even if I sent them internally, it would be worth just 2 food, 2 production, not a huge amount. So again, the actual trade routes themselves, not super interested in. What I might do is spend a little bit of gold on things like monuments. Monuments do give a chunk of culture. I'm just trying to think if there's a better way of doing it. I could get great work. Sometimes the AI will sell great works of writing for not much money at all. 217, so it's actually cheaper to do that than to get a monument. And it deprives the AI of culture as well. Let's just double check actually and see what is in Mali's capital. They didn't actually have anything in there. That's a bit annoying. Yeah, so I'll take the great work of writing for now. That gives me a little bit more culture. And did you see there was a luxury I could buy? So get that in as well. You always want to buy luxuries in from medieval or era onwards. It's well worth it. Well worth it. I'm also now going to beeline to printing. Printing gives me 1 level of diplomatic visibility over the AI. That is a big difference. That's +3 combat strength on all units. You want that as soon as you can. If you don't have it, the AI probably will. 1 more city has been captured. All of these Sugabas. I think I'm already generating as many merchant points as Mali is, and I've got my trade route capacity up by a good 2 already, so this is very handy. I have the opportunity to pick candy back up now as well, which is good. As long as I've got an ability to get a relic in, that's nice. If I have bought a great work of writing, so maybe that wasn't the best move, but I like having that city in. It's awesome. The city's going to flip in 5 turns. I don't really want that to happen. I'm going to move these 2 units, the man-at-arms and the knight, round to go and kill the city for me. I think that's Timbuktu taken. Good. Let's move the great scientist in. Any medic is really good to stand within a city that you've just captured. Another trick, if you see a city with -1, it means that it's not generating enough food and it's going to starve and lose a population. It also means it's getting minus loyalty because it's technically starving. Just find any yield and go like that. Just 3 clicks. It'll sort itself out. I don't know why. I think what happens is that the deity bonus, if the AI is playing on deity mode, it gets a food bonus. It's like 40% extra food or something along those lines. So the city has calibrated itself to be able to survive with whatever food that it needs to. You just need to rejig it so that it knows that you're using regular pleb human strength food, so it doesn't get too excited. So that's just something to think about. Another trick is if the AI is willing, never let your strategic resources go to 50. 50 because you're wasting them. You might as well sell them and then get some gold. Just a handy little trick. Don't ever let yourself stockpile out. You can build barracks and stables and other encampment buildings to get that to work a little bit better, but it's just a nice little habit, nice little trick to get used to doing every now and then. Oh, look at this. Let's get rid of this woods. That's on the middle of a district that I was going to put down. Nice aqueduct. We'll get some industrial zones down. Make this a little bit of a heart of just industry in my nation. I'm going to chop down these forests as well. Get myself some mines in my city. It should actually mean that we can get these districts down quickly. And actually, wow, that eruption went off without damaging anything. Hey, we'll take that. That's good. I'm looking forward to getting Newton. Newton's been on the great scientist list for a little while now, and he's one of the best in the game. Instantly builds a university and a library in the district, and universities provide 2 science extra. With rationalism, that's a huge bonus to Korea, and if you see him appear, yeah, you need to keep an eye out and see if you can beeline them, because they can be brilliant. Let's get that industrial zone sorted quickly, and yeah, this city's looking good. We've got the workshop almost thrown up in this city. The government plaza almost done there. Infrastructure's looking good in my heartland. As I'm at war, I'm fixing everything around here. Look at that, bit more food. All of the tiles around my unique districts, I need to focus on improving those and making sure they're looking good. Now, this man-at-arms is very nicely tanking damage for me. As you can see, healing a ton. 35 per turn. So was doing a great job at just sort of tanking that sort of stuff. Conscription, limes. I'm going to get rid of limes briefly to get not retinues, professional army. Gold discount on upgrading troops. And so it begins. Hwacha, one of the most powerful Renaissance troops in the game. It is brilliant. They can't move and fire, but apart from that, they're brilliant. Useful little pickup with Preslav. Now, Preslav are looking over Edinburgh and Scotland generally. They'll give us a huge amount of visibility over probably our next target. Scotland has been a good friend. They like me -7, and Scotland is all about science and engineering. It's exactly what I'm about. So taking their cities will give me a huge step up in industry. Mali focused firing on one of my troops there, but I believe they probably just threw the game by doing that. Printing gives me +3 combat strength, and as you can see, yeah, I lost a man-at-arms, but this Hwacha does 43 damage against the city. It's so good. It's crazy. Let's get this through, and then we'll go one attack on the city, basically destroy the walls in one go. Now my Hwacha's waiting on this hill, can fire against the very silly crossbow that decided to stand there. Why they did that, I'm not entirely sure. Move my men-at-arms on the other side, move the Hwachas round behind. There literally is nowhere for them to go. They're stuck now. The walls are now down in the city. Hwacha can now fire. Yeah, next turn, Mali will be out. So really, already I'm moving my troops against Scotland. Again, any gold upgrade I can get, or any trade deal I can get with Scotland that trades for gold, I'm going to do. I don't really need anything else other than that. Like this gold per turn, don't need that. I will take your Diplo favour though. I don't mind. I can give Scotland as much niter, and not niter necessarily, but horses and iron and all those resources. I can give them as much as they want. Doesn't matter to me at all. Reason being, my Hwachas are so powerful that I can just disintegrate troops almost immediately. If I can find one that hasn't moved and fired and something, no, I'll show you next turn like how much it does against those knights. It's a big deal. It's a huge difference. But now we've got muskets. I would advise you head to castles, siege tactics, military science, line inventory. If you've got muskets and you've worked out the production or the niter or the gold or whatever it is to get those muskets, you might as well just upgrade them to line inventory. Cavalry are some of the best military units you will have for the mid-game as well. They are awesome. Now, I'm going Warlords of Throne. We're quite committed to going for a domination victory, and that 20% bonus to production in all cities works really, really well. I probably could have got that a little bit earlier if I chopped it out, but I'm pretty happy with how the game has gone so far. Researcher now for Pingala. That will step up the science in this city quite a lot. It'll give it probably another 12, as well as giving me a little bit more culture. Yep, there we go. Look, we're up to 148 science by turn 104. We are starting to Korea accelerate. Oh yeah, 63 strength when they attack at the moment. That's pretty strong. Awesome. Awesome stuff. I can still heal my troops by moving them in, but I believe, yeah, we're going to kill Mali this turn. I'm just going to attack like a couple of troops just to get all the experience I can, and then we'll go 1, 2, and best of all, that is the pyramids. the pyramids is +1 builder charge across my empire. And look at that, Scotland loves the fact that I'm keeping peace with my neighbours. Strange definition of peace, but we'll take it. And with that, I made 6 cities, I conquered 7, I'm on 13 now. We are industry-wise just neck and shoulders ahead of the world. Like, we're so far ahead, it's brilliant. We're doing great. And as discussed, even though we have crazy trade going with Scotland, they are by far the best target for us. Especially, look, these knight units, I'm friends with them, so I won't be able to show you how much damage they do, but this is 50 strength a knight. I can find something that is also 50-ish strength. I mean, look, the walls are disintegrating against city-states, so this is, yeah, we should be absolutely fine. All I probably need to do is make a couple of roads, though, in order to build a bit of industry so I can actually attack easily. The capital, Stirling, is up there to the north, so we're going to have to fight through them. They have 400 military, so they're going to be tough, but land-based combat right now, for me, is pretty easy. So this is the one thing I was saying before. Land army is good, but it is superseded by a navy. And now I'm thinking whether or not rushing square rigging would be a good idea, because I do have Auckland and I do have a couple of coastal cities that mean that I could get a navy round and attack Edinburgh, Dumfries, Cullen, Montrose from the sea. That would give me a lot of maneuverability and it would distract a lot of their units. Now I'm thinking that could be a good move. Let's go shipbuilding and then buttress, and then I'll start working again on this. That'll let me get some quadriremes out and then I can upgrade them on the cheap to frigates later, using the same tactics I was using to get my man-at-arms. Actually, this is one of those useful little tips that you might not realize. When you gain the pyramids, all of your existing builders get an extra charge. This builder was actually on 1 charge, and it was the last thing he was going to do was go and get that niter, but now he has 2. So yeah, useful. Isaac Newton instantly builds a library and university in this district. Now, it's better to use Newton in a district that has just been built that doesn't have any of the buildings, like this one. You could also use them in the capital because, you know, you want it in as quickly as possible, but no, for now this is fine. Galileo, extra science boost for mountain adjacency. We do have now some pretty decent mountains, so that could be worth it as well. Just going to denounce Scotland quickly. Yeah, I know, but a formal war suits me better. First time in the world someone's got to a 10-pop city. That's crazy how long that's taken, but sure. We've got professional army in. I do want to just quickly put in, where is it, the gold cost as well, retinues. We've got some man-at-arms to musket upgrades to do. At the moment, look, these knights, they out-compete me. Not because of anything too bad, but just because they're great. I've got the Spear of Flint. I keep forgetting about this. This is something I should be utilising a little bit more, but my army are all in the wrong place. Once I have railroads, I'll be able to fly them over a lot quicker. But as you can see, 57 strength against 65 right now. That upgrade puts me on parity. It is a strong upgrade, and we want to be utilizing it as often as we can, and in many units as we can as well. Also, library and university, bam. That's 169 science now, which is pretty decent. Could be better though, could be better. I'm using all of my gold on industry and army at the moment rather than science, but I could improve it if I could just get a little bit more gold per turn in. So I've just unlocked alliances. I know I'm friends with Indonesia and France, both of them are pretty good, and I know that Scotland has met Indonesia, so I'm just going to hang on. If I can get a joint war with Scotland with my friend Indonesia, then I will give them a military alliance. That will give me +5 combat against all of their units. It's a big buff. That will be 5 strength from an alliance, 4 from oligarchy, 5 from the Great General, 3 from visibility, so we're at +17-ish at that point. They start to stack. All of the things start to stack. I am only 1 or 2 turns now away from being able to declare a joint war or just a formal war in general. So what I'm actually looking at is that my muskets, everything is now out of range of my Great General. My Great General was classical and medieval era, and both the muskets and my Hwachas are Renaissance, so it's not very useful anymore. So this must be completed on a completed encampment. I'll move my Great General around whilst, actually to be fair, there's not even any point because these men at arms are now going to get upgraded permanently. Yeah, so I think And I've still got one more, but I'll build an encampment very soon and we'll go and just give ourselves the War Weariness upgrade. It's a really handy one. Era score for some magnificent industrial zones. I actually finished 2 that turn that were really handy. Perfect. We love to see that. I have 10 turns left of unit building. I probably should do that. That's from the World Congress. It's still giving me 50% of the production cost on units. I kind of want to do something that is going to be useful for me later on, but a lot of these units are a little bit useless unless I can get out to sea. I could build more Hwachas, but I've got quite a few of those. Maybe some trebuchets? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll build a trebuchet. That's handy because then I can upgrade it to artillery and rocket artillery, rocket artillery later into the game. But helpfully for me, Scotland is just leaving their units in the middle of my land. You gotta appreciate that. Let's go for make deal, joint war, Robert the Bruce. They will do it for 45 gold per turn. Okay, I'm going to risk something here. We're going to go for the military alliance. We're allied. Good. Indonesia are ages away from me, so they were kind of going to be the last people I thought anyway. Now that I'm a military ally, sometimes it makes the idea of war a little bit easier for them because they know they've got power. We actually took maybe a gold per turn off. Never mind. What we'll do is we'll do it the other way. We will go for a formal war against Scotland. Now, I'll lose a couple of trade deals by doing that, but it's okay. Now we'll join ongoing war. Not willing to do that. Okay, they are willing to do that, but for a lot of gold. But we'll just wait. They may, once we whittle down Scotland's army a little bit, they may be more inclined to join in. So, first of all, Hwacha. Off you pop. Lovely. And we'll take on that unit. Square rigging boosted because we got a kill with a musket. Brilliant. Moving my Hwachas round. I've got some lovely set up positions now that I can just one by one pick off their army as they charge at me. Haddington has no walls. We know the rules about no walls, right? We've established this already. Not a good idea. So we're going to move our troops in that, which is lovely. And these muskets are going to slowly make their way through the mountains. This is very difficult terrain to be fighting through, but once we get through this little mountain pass, it's going to be a lot easier to move our troops around. So I'm looking forward to getting this bit done. So it looks like Preslav is going to absorb the initial rage from Scotland. They're going to lose all of their troops pretty quickly, and these knights are by far the strongest things that they've got. But I think I'll be fine. Retinues, professional army, I don't need this stuff anymore. Craftsman, conscription, a bit more gold per turn, and extra production in all of my cities is working a treat. I'm also, now that I've got guilds, I'm almost at diplomatic service, but we're going to just step into chivalry and monarchy and those sort of things first. Here is a great merchant. Trade route capacity by 1. Trade routes give me extra faith. That's very handy because trade routes to city-states are going to be absolutely what I end up focusing on. And I'm just going to get Pingala grants. That's a little bit of extra great people points, but as I mentioned before, every promotion gives us 3% science and culture. So we've got 4 of them now, and this city is now generating plus 27%. Oh, really good. And we've got the Warlord's Throne. So if we kill a city now, we will get 20% extra production in all cities. That's really good. It's really handy. I'm going to start celebrating that by starting to build traders now. We're kind of getting up to the Renaissance era, but once I've got my government, we will go for Visselbanken. All of my trade routes are going to go to allied city-states, and that is how we're going to make production whilst at war with the world. City-states will not betray me. They will be my friends. It will be wonderful. Also, look at these Hwachas, and bam. Unit is killed immediately. These are only warriors, admittedly, but it doesn't make it any less fun. And more importantly, Indonesia is now spreading Feed the World to me. This is good. As soon as Feed the World starts appearing, I will be getting holy sites, because each holy site would then give me 6 food, 4 housing, which in itself is a really good boost, but a bunch of faith income that I can then be getting the Grandmaster's Chapel to insta-faith buy units with. It's one of the handiest things that you can do when you're at war. Yes, extra spy capacity, city-state troop capacity is really good. Those are the other options at the government plaza, if I just show you quickly. So intelligence agency is better spies and spy capacity. Foreign ministry lets you leverage city-states for half the cost and gives them extra combat strength. None of that is very handy when you compare them on a military game to the Grandmaster's Chapel. Get a solid boost of faith and you can be purchasing with faith troops for half the cost. It's really good. I'm actually now going to throw some more governor titles to Pingala, even though they're not very helpful. Like, it doesn't, I'll get curator, but literally all I'm doing there is just stacking my 15% bonus. We're going to get a university in this city as soon as I can afford it, and that will massively spike up the science in my empire, and then we can get a theatre square in this city as well. Haddington is surrounded. My muskets are very strong. 64 strength when attacking. Thank you so much. This city won't last long. The knight only did 24 damage to my Hwacha. That's a ranged unit that's supposed to be weak in direct confrontation. That's how strong these things are. They are so far technologically ahead. You gotta love them. 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks. Haddington is on its last legs already, and in fact, it's been taken. Perfect. Immediately, Victor, over your pop. First city's taken, 7 more to go, but that is a theatre square. Theatre squares are good for me. I have, you know, culture is probably my weakest important stat right now, so yeah, we'll take that. This knight has left itself very open, which is beautiful. So now my musket will be able to take that on in a second, like so. Yeah, perfect. Didn't even need to hit it. But we're already at this soft rear underbelly of Scotland. The reason Scotland haven't put any walls up is they haven't been threatened at any point this game. I have made no aggressive moves to them, so they haven't felt the need, and that's where we're going to strike. It's very handy. Now, in terms of envoys, I'm going to put 1 into Bandar Brunei. I've got so many markets and lighthouses that, yeah, that gave me quite a bit of gold, so that's handy. I'm going to save our other envoys for a bit later. Oh, line inventory will appear next turn. That is an upgrade I'm looking forward to. Very much looking forward to. In fact, actually, I'm going to get ready for it by putting professional army in and lose a little bit of gold per turn. But I just got Bandar Brunei to give me that gold, so that's fine. I've got at least 1 upgrade immediately, and then we can cavalry boost very soon. And there's line inventory. Where are you? Bam, 125 gold. That's pretty cheap. And again, I've just brought my lovely, lovely little scientist down just to let my units heal quickly. I don't need to wait too long. My units are looking pretty fine, to be fair. And yeah, as long as you've got 30 combat strength above the enemy, you should insta-kill them. That's kind of the range you need to be at. Hwacha. Just let these units upgrade. We want to let them be their best selves. I'm going to move this one forward a couple tiles. You just attack there. Lovely. Then I'll cross the river and cross the river. We can get this city siege nice and soon. I'm starting to get universities finished as well. 6 science. Each of these universities give me because of Newton. Lovely. I'm actually now out competing Scotland for Galileo. That's also really handy. In fact, this city, it can't really do much because it's not got too much population, so it's actually building its science industry up really nicely, and I like that. Oh, and university was finished in this city as well. Oh goodness, what a result. I'm just thinking about whether or not I pinch a harbour in this lake, but I don't think it's worth it because Auckland is very much in the way. So I'll just build some troops. So now that I've got line inventory, again, I'm going to focus back towards the navy. Let's go military tactics, mass production, and then just see where we get to. Cartography would be useful. My science is crazy. We're up to 200 science by turn 115. We've doubled our science in about 20 turns. We are 6 techs ahead against Scotland, and luckily for us, Scotland, it has everything we need. Encampments, it has science campuses, it's got industrial zones. Really is, Scotland is about as close to the setup as Korea as you could get. The only problem is they have put their campuses in sort of places that don't really work for us, so they're not going to be as good as our own campuses, but hey, I'll take a campus any day of the week. Oh, 3 population lost. That is in my Pingala city. Not cool. Not cool. Okay, we just gained the population back immediately, but that is really not cool. Okay, I'm setting up the trade routes from this city, though. It doesn't look like they're doing a huge amount now, but Visselbanken is only about 10 turns away from coming in. That will help with this city. Eventually, I'll be able to get a dam here. But the dams, annoyingly, I've put in such a place that my Siwan is going to get weaker if I build it. So I might just have to take the flood damage. Bit annoying, but what are you going to do? So this city is sieged now. Good. I've got my Hwachas. They can't attack this turn, but they'll be able to attack next turn. And my muskets are fighting off these knights pretty handily. Just upgrade that one. Don't need to rush kill this city. Now that it's sieged, it's not going to gain health, so I might attack with Hwachas. This is a really good example, actually, of how to siege a city, okay? So, in order to siege a city, you need to have all 6 tiles around it under your zone of control. Ranged units only provide a zone of control on the tile they are stood in. They do not project it onto other tiles, whereas melee units, anti-cav units, anything like that, I don't think cavalry units do it as well. Anything that's not siege, effectively, they project zone of control in the 6 tiles around them. However, zone of control does not go over rivers, so this musket is only projecting zone of control over 1, 2, 3 tiles. This musket here is projecting to the right and to the bottom left. This musket is going left, and then this musket is where it stood. So the 6 tiles around Forres are controlled, and I get to make sure that it never heals. It's lovely. A second flood in the same city, but Pingala didn't lose any population this time. It just damaged the same district, or the same tiles that it did before, which is really, really okay. We can handle that one. Oh, I mean, it's really going for it though. It really wants that city to die. Do I want to make friends with France? Probably not. It's actually going to take me less than 30 turns to kill Scotland and make my way across the sea. So I'm going to let my friendship with France expire, which is a bit of a pain. They've got some gold left. I'm just going to do some trading with them to basically take all the gold. No, they really don't want anything too good, do they? Like, is there anything I can do? No. I was just thinking, I'd rather not make friends with them, because if I do, I've got to wait until I can then declare war. And right now I have the technological boost, so I might as well take it. The other thing I'm going to do is not fire at the city with my Hwachas. If I'm in range, I'm going to attack the units, because they're so much stronger at doing that. And lovely stuff. Forres is taken. Now this is going to have a little bit more loyalty pressure because of the proximity to other Scottish cities, but luckily Victor isn't really needed in my first city, so I'll just move them over immediately. So I was just doing a little bit of thinking. I know, be careful about that. But I think this land army, especially with the the line inventory that I've just unlocked, with all of that, I think the next thing I need to focus on is a navy to attack Scotland on the coast, but also to bridge my attack over to France. Now, I'm just about to unlock cartography, that unlocks caravels, and after that, square rigging gives me about 7 turns. Let's have about 3 turns worth of double production on units, so I'm actually just going to switch and build a quadrireme or 2. I also don't have the card in, but next turn I'm going to be getting monarchy and I can put my boat building card. But by doing this, I can build a little bit of a navy. Oh, it's certainly at least sort of 4 or 5 boats that I can upgrade to frigates and then attack with. I'm plotting ahead. Now, it is a little bit risky because I'm sort of taking my hand off the tiller a little bit by investing in different army. But I think this is worth it because I think my army on this side is looking really quite handsome. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Okay, annoyingly, that man-at-arms is just a little bit too weak. And, oh, I think I'm going to just upgrade the troops. Just take a turn or 2 to upgrade them. Now, the problem of switching to monarchy is that, I've already locked in, unfortunately, the autocratic legacy card. I would have quite liked to instead get the classical republic legacy card. It's a little bit better. You get the immunity in the housing rather than the 4 combat strength, but we'll lean into that. It's not a problem. Monarchy it is. So, we're going to have a look at this quickly, and you can see we've got professional army still in for a little bit. I quite like that. It's not a bad thing. Oligarchic legacy gives me the combat strength. Industrial zone, these are all quite useful things. Campus, I'm going to get rid of... Oh, here we go, hang on. I'm just going to allow this because at the moment, no, the card is technically out. I've got a couple of units that still need upgrading, but not too many, and I can wait on that for a turn or 2. Okay, so let's get rid of professional army, put in, where's the boat building card? Maritime industries, oligarchic legacy, and I think we'll go for 2 influence points per turn because it actually is 3 because I get 50% extra influence points. Delicious. There is Galileo. I will just pick them up. Emil is really good. 3 random technology eurekas, but I don't necessarily need them. And Hanno is amazing. Creates a naval melee unit. Now, I believe this one scales with your technology. So if I just wait for a second, I should get something quite good. I don't have a city on the coast just yet. I'm going to wait until I capture like Dumfries or Edinburgh, and then I'll be able to teleport him over. Now, my line inventory are very powerful. They can just one-hit a crossbow. Just walk straight through where they used to be. I've also got a man-at-arms that can come and take care of that knight. Bring my reinforcements forward. This musket can get the commando. That's strong enough. I don't actually need to upgrade the musket. And I'm going to bring my great general back. They're not useful anymore. I say that, actually. Yeah, the knight gets the benefit. So, okay, we'll keep them out for the knight, just for now. I'm just going to run at Cullen. 10 population. You always want to go and combat for the highest population cities if you can, because they will give the biggest loyalty swings. Helps you to keep all of the others. All of my city-states are looking pretty loyal at the moment. We'll just hold on to the envoys for a bit. Quietly getting the diplomatic quarter and the consulate being built. It gives me even more influence points per turn. Helps me to accumulate a lot of spare envoys. When you're at war, city-states are really important because they're basically your only allies. And if you want to use Visselbanken, if you want to use democracy, all of the things that give you trade route bonuses with friends, that's what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be going to Visselbanken. You want to have some city-states on side because they're the only people that are going to talk to you. I'm also going to just pop my great scientist now. Now, he's been really good as a medic. I'm going to take the 5 health healing per troop wherever they are, as well as the Eureka moment. There you go, cartography's finished, because I was just about to run out of medieval and Renaissance Eurekas, so I didn't want to lose the benefit of him. He was really useful, but he's a little bit of a pain to, you know, skulk around the entire world, so just getting rid of him simplifies matters just a little bit. Now, Galileo gives you 200 science for each adjacent mountain, so if you get a big group of mountains all together around a single tile, he will give you more benefit. Like this tile has 3 mountains on it. At the moment, that is the victor, unless I can find a better assortment of mountains somewhere else. There's a 4 round there. I think that's about as much as we're going to get from this map, unless I've seen any crazy mountain ranges elsewhere. No, 4 mountains it is. Okay, so let me just, off you pop. Just going to hold off on square rigging for a second, and instead let's go for, we're kind of pushing towards chemistry, flight. These are the things we want. So I want to go up the tech tree. I'll pick up astronomy just to make that easier. I could go metal casting if I had lots of siege units or pike and shots or things like that, but I don't need that at the moment. So astronomy it is. Just pillaging a tiny bit of culture gives me about 2 to 3 turns worth of diplomatic service, which I like. All of the other units, I want you to charge forward. They have very exposed units out at the moment. We want to make sure that we can just run in now. I'm going to come around south. I don't want to threaten Sterling too much. I don't want them to throw walls up. Not that walls really matter, being absolutely honest. Right now we have by far the technological superiority. Diplomatic service also gives me a spy. That is exciting. If I can get a spy up, then I can get another layer of diplomatic visibility on the troops. You can see at the moment already, I believe I'm getting +3 on them. No, we're equal. We're equal on diplomatic visibility, so that would give me +3. So they're attacking my units, but even with all of these crossbows, they are barely damaging them, which is lovely. So here's a little trick. Urban Development Treaty, often you can, if you've got a lot of diplomatic favour, you can vote for no buildings to be put in the city centre. Now, if you do that, the enemy can't build walls. The problem is, the AI always votes on option A. So unless you've got actual favour that you can spend, there's no point doing that. You might as well, I mean, we'll vote city centre. People will throw walls up, but it doesn't matter. We've got siege equipment, we've got a CAD, we can break walls down. It's not a problem. I'll just vote for some random luxury to be taken off. It doesn't really matter which one gets put through. Coca, I mean, as I say, people have loads more votes than we do. 5 votes for A. Do you see what I mean? We wouldn't have been able to force that one through, even if we'd wanted to. So we'll just have to accept that. The rest of my units, though, are just going to clear out as many of these crossbows as we can get our mitts on, because they are frustrating units. Why did you do that? You could have just gone to this tile and across. Ugh. How frustrating. Never mind. Do I attack that? Is that worth it? No, I'll send the man-at-arms in that direction to go and attack this one. I'd rather focus on taking Cullen as quickly as possible. And I can finally pick up a university in my science city as well. 215 science by turn 121. Yeah, it's pretty good. I could have won an aid request there by giving France 1 gold. I didn't in this particular run, A, because I forgot about it, and B, we're not going for a diplomacy victory. But if you do see these aid requests, it's always worth dropping 1 gold to the target, as long as you're not generating CO2. As long as you're generating CO2, you'll be getting a minus penalty to this. But if you're not, 1 gold will often win 2 victory points and a bunch of favour. So really, I could have got a bunch of favour doing that. It's a little bit of an oversight, but what you gonna do? We have Cullen surrounded on 3 separate sides now. 1, 2, and then a final 3. Look at that, the city's almost taken already. Looking good. And the crossbow standing to fight me. They fell into trap. Okay, well, this is good. This is good. We can blast their units as they appear. Dumfries as well. It's going to get hit pretty hard. Yep, I should be able to take both cities on the same turn, which will be a result for me. A huge result for me. Loyalty-wise, it's very easy to keep cities if you take them all at the same time. There is Dumfries taken. I'm just going to do a quick pillage to heal that unit and then use my line infantry to do the first attack and then musket to do the second attack. 2 cities taken from Scotland in the space of 1 turn. You can see this city has a nice industrial zone, holy site, theatre square, beautiful. This one's got a nice district, science district. This is Temple of Artemis, I think? Yeah, lovely. Quite a few amenities in this city, which I will always take. Whenever you're taking over large amounts of territory, you'll often find that they're just very unhappy for a very long period of time. So I finished that quadroom, that quadroom. Okay, I've got 5 of them in total. That'll be plenty for my upgrade. So we'll just sort of stack them all together, keep them all near my territory. We can upgrade them. It's time to unlock square rigging, which is a good thing because we've got Mr. Galileo waiting to rock with 1,000 science. Bam! Square rigging is completed, and then we'll go immediately into industrialization and unlock coal and, more importantly, 1 productions wall mines. I have a few mines in my empire, like a few of them, so that's going to massively help. Oof, there's a flood in the city that I've just taken, which is a bit of a problem because that actually just damaged a couple of my troops. We need to be a little bit careful, and I might need to just take a turn to let these heal. More than a turn, a few turns, really. But diplomatic service means that I can get a couple of things through. Oligarchic legacy still works for me. Serfdom, natural philosophy, both of those work as well, but I don't need maritime industries anymore. That is useless. Vissel banking's also going in because my trade routes to city-states that I'm allied to massively helps, and I'm thinking I'm going to go for conscription just for a bit. Or raid. Raid is a really good card. Pillaging gets you a lot of yields. I haven't been pillaging so far because I've been trying to be a little bit speedy, but probably slowing down just a fraction and pillaging would be a pretty sensible idea. Now this line infantry can, oh yeah, hit Sterling hard. A merchant that gives me a free governor. As Korea, we like governors. Very, very good. We'll pop this in immediately. And again, I'm going to give Pingala the last promotion. Not because it's useful, or because it gives us an era score for completing Pingala, but because now our bonus in this city is a wonderful, let's have a look, plus 18%. Lovely. We are unfortunately getting minus 10 from amenities right now. Not entirely fun, but we haven't really done a huge amount to earn our own immunities, so that is something we could improve. I believe, which is it? Enlightenment? Yeah, liberalism comes online with Enlightenment, plus 1 immunity to cities with at least 2 specialty districts. That's quite a good one. I'm also going to just get a Theodore, the engineer, with some faith, which is handy because I'm going to rush a wonder or 2 if I can. Firstly, in my capital, I can build Mausoleum, but Patala Palace and Forbidden City are both options as well. And I'd like Forbidden City because I need more policy cards if I can get it. But Mausoleum first. Mausoleum is always handy, and Mausoleum is always handy because it gives you 1 extra charge on Great Engineers. So someone like Isidore, he'll use a charge to finish the wonder and then get a free one. So it's effectively a free wonder. I want to go for Mercantilism because logistics. This card is really handy with Korea. Plus 1 movement per turn if starting in friendly territory. What happens is that will give our Hwachas 3 movement. The game is still bugged that if a siege weapon, of which the mechanics of the Hwacha, even though it's a ranged unit, it still works off siege unit stats. It will effectively mean that it is more than the original movement that it started with, so it'll think it has the move and fire promotion, and it means in my territory I can move the unit and fire it in the same turn. Makes them very powerful units indeed. One little handy tip is if you want to avoid grievance penalties with the AI, and they normally give you the biggest penalties when you take somebody out. If you have a situation like this where the AI has a single city that is just sat around with no hope of keeping loyalty, there's a governor in the city and it's losing 15 per turn, leave it alone, because if that's the last city, that will flip by itself and you will not take grievances for knocking a player out. You also don't get the 5 era score, but honestly, I'm actually going to take advantage of this and move my units to the north. This is where Sterling is. I want to go north and then across this sea. I'm also just waiting for my gold and niter to build up. I can take 50 niter into my stockpile. I've got all of these boats that are ready to upgrade. But with the right policy cards, I can upgrade all of them at the same time. Sterling is not going to survive for very long. Speed is of the essence. I could wait and pillage all of these things. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep fighting through. Navy, we've sorted Navy. I've got one ready to rock once it gets upgraded. Then we want to go flight. Flight is the next best thing. Scientific theory, have the Enlightenment civic. Oh, now this is a really good civic for us to get. I could go Humanism Enlightenment. The reason is Rationalism. Now, Rationalism as a card gives you extra science from buildings and campuses. 50% if a city is 15 population or higher. Quite tricky to do. 50% if a district has at least 4 adjacency bonus. Oh, look. Every single one of my campuses is 4 adjacency, hence why Korea is so overpowered. That card will be worth at least as much to me as natural philosophy. So that's why we need as many economic policy cards as we can, and that's why we want to rush down that side of a tree as quick as we can get it. I also didn't really mention at the time, but it's worth pointing out that I have the Etementanki, which Scotland built for me, which is lovely, and is giving me science on all of my marsh tiles. Now, I don't have a huge amount of marsh tiles, honestly, in my empire, but I do have a couple, and they are giving me some really good yields now. It's mainly, honestly, in Scotland's land. It was actually a very good city for it, so yeah, they've done a good job there. Oh, by the way, this scientist is way more powerful than you think he is. Chosen campus gains 2 housing and 1 amenities. Well, use that in your capital city and it immediately will pay off. Increases non-food yield benefits of happiness in your empire by 40%. It basically means that the 20% additional science and all the yield that you get from having an ecstatic city goes to 24%. Big difference. Really stacks really well later into the game. 400 gold I just got pillaging that mine. Lovely. But Scotland's capital has fallen and this knight can just cruise onwards. We'll go and see what other Scottish cities we can find. Oh, and again, how clumsy of me. I didn't show you where coal was. So there is a coal in between 2 of my science districts. So this tile already is amazing. 2 food, 6 production, 2 science, and we're already getting that in. There is some coal over near this volcano, some between the 2 city-states, but most importantly, a huge glut of it over there. So I do need to actually make another settler and go and settle into this area. That would be a really fun pickup for us. Coal is Korea's friend. I'm doing a lot of building upgrading at the moment down here. We've got factories, universities. I am industrializing very quickly. Here's one charge for the mausoleum. Yeah, it's not a particularly good engineer, but we're starting to pick up a lot of engineer points now. So very briefly, craftsman and raid are coming out because I'm going to put in the 2 upgrade cards, professional army and retinues, so that my navy can do its thing. Frigate 1, frigate 2, frigate 3, frigate 4, and most importantly, frigate 5. Right. That's great. Now I can just take a really quick, cheap civic like naval tradition to just flick it back over, but that's looking pretty good. Gonna give Victor garrison commander. That gives +4 loyalty to all cities within 4 tiles. Whenever you put him in. 4 loyalty within cities within 9 tiles, I should say. So that's all of my conquered cities. These are all getting nice amounts of loyalty, which is great. Naval tradition, I can take professional army and retinues back out again, and again put in what I had before. Craftsman is good, and raid. I like raid. It's a really good card. And here's the scientist. Fantastic. Oh, he's a fantastic pickup. I'm actually going to put him down in my Pingala city. It's got -1 amenities, which isn't great. I do need to improve that a little bit if I can, but I mean, as I said, we've got limited options at the moment. Amenities will start to improve once we go to natural history. That unlocks zoos, which give +1 immunity to all cities within 6 tiles of them, and aquariums, which do the same thing to cities within 9 tiles of them. 1 attack, 2 attack, and then from the sea I can go 3 attack like so. Montrose is taken. Professional sports means I've now got 2 entertainment complexes, which is good. None of which I've actually built. I think either Scotland or Mali have built them for me. Yeah, one of them's there in Timbuktu and the other one is in Montrose. Fair enough. Oh, frustratingly, Edinburgh has sorted its loyalty out. That's incredible. Huh. I mean, I don't think I've actually changed how much loyalty I was pushing in that direction. We can probably fix that if we spread it a bit, but I'm going to have to actually fire my way into this city. No, never mind. Well, we'll just make our way over. I think we can take down Edinburgh fairly quickly. There is a bunch of crossbows there, which is frustrating, but I think I've got enough army that I can sort of beeline them, send them over, go and sort that city out rapido. Look at that though, I've now got access to flight. We can get an aerodrome down and then look for aluminium and go to advanced flight. Bombers are just amazing. They're so good. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Glorious Petra, I Am Salty Tech, Matthew Wilkinson, Paul Coffey, Doughboy91, Sean Crites, Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Davalex, Skeptical Bear, Kroger Brand Trail Mix, Alex Noob, Cinnamon Beard, Portland, Petra Ryan, Matthew Hatch, Amir EC, Henry, Rom88, Radiatore, Private Selection, Genoa Salami, Boy Zorro, Callum Billy, Garrett Gowan. Thanks everyone!